Going in with a V-tool, separating the cheek from the mustache. I'll go ahead and outlining up the side of the face, up to the brim, I guess the brim of the hat. Doing that on both sides and going up and separating the forehead with the same V-tool from the headband, the fur headband on the Santa hat. And I'll do that all across the face and out the side of the hair over on the right. I do that at this point. Stuff's pretty much put in, and I just kind of outline the face where it'll stick out from the wood. Just clean it up a little bit. I'll go in with a smaller V-tool later when I'm through and get all the detail in it. Now I'm going to define the bottom part of the mustache. Got I think it's 15 millimeter number 11, and work on both sides of the mustache. And that kind of gives as I'm doing that, it also puts in the mouth area, at least the upper lip area. I'll do this all the way over to the side up to where nearly up to where the V-tool work was done just before that. And putting a closer shape on the mustache, and then I'll work on the left side of the mustache and do the same thing as I did on the right side. Just go up under it with it to where it meets, and it meets the face about the corner of the eye. Using a shallow gouge here just to kind of shape up to around the nostril. Getting a little extra wood off. Again, using that so I don't get in trouble. It also matches the shape of the nostril, so it cuts in there pretty good. Gives you pretty good outline for the knife work that I do, and here I just cut from the cheek to the mustache, from the mustache to the nose, and then kind of the outline of the curvature of the nostril, and pop that little pyramid shaped piece out. I do that on both sides, and at this point, that's pretty much set in there. There's not a lot to do. And looking at it on this camera angle, it looks like it's really lopsided, but it's not. It's not that lopsided. It might be a little. But that hole on the top really makes it look weird. Just shaping the balls of the eyeballs to make sure that the eye mound, that's what I was trying to think of, the eye mounds, make sure they're the same and that they're going to be looking the same way. And at this point I've roughly set stuff in, so it's just kind of cleaning up. Now right before this I had used a V-tool to cut in the top eyelid, and then but I stood in front of the camera so much you couldn't see it, so I'll do better next time. But then I do the V-cut, and I use a knife to go in and cut it, make a stop cut, and then I cut from the bottom up to the eyelid, and then I cut the bottom eyelid with the V-tool and cut it out with the knife, and I'll just go straight down on the eye to there you see it going straight down to the bottom lid. And that's the way I make my eyes. I may do a video just on the eyes, using I think it's about a 9, number 11, and going back to a bigger one to kind of set a bag under the eye. And again, it's getting more set in there, but nothing's real definite just yet. Cleaning up the corner there with the V-tool. Now I'm making a cut up the side of the nose and up around the forehead. It kind of defines the eyebrow. Helps put a shadow in there. Really helps for painting too. It'll make it dark, make it kind of stand out from the rest of the carving. And again, just working on that same area and pushing it back makes you push back the part of the forehead right behind the eyebrows. I think because of the dark grain over there on the left of the mouth, it looks like that's a lot further back than it is on the right, but it's really not. And now I'm working on the beard. I've cut off the bottom part of this, but in the video I cut it off. Eventually I'll realize what I'm doing and I'll pull it back where you can see more. But I'm using the 30 millimeter number 11 and just making some big S-shaped cuts. It kind of sets up the beard. And generally I do the outline first, the sides, and give me a basic shape. On this one, that's what I did. Sometimes I work from one side to the other, but I did the basic shape, and now I'm going up to on the right side, and that also cuts in the corner of the mouth over there, and you can see the S shape on that. And here's kind of a backward S because I run it back the other way. Sometimes I'll alternate with like backward S on one side, and sometimes I'll do all the S's going the same direction. And you just work with it to make it look different till you get what you want. A big V tool here going in, cutting under the mustache, the bottom part of the mustache, and I'll outline it on up to where, as you can see, where it comes into the face, just about the corner of the eye. And then I'll do it the other side. And when I go to the V-tool work, it's kind of setting it in at that point. You use the V-tool, it's kind of there. Not a lot of room to move stuff around after that. You've got you a good carved line at that point. Pushing the sides of the mouth back. Now the sides of the mouth will come just about to the middle of the eyeball. You can draw a line straight down from the middle of the eyeball, and that's about where the corner of the mouth is. A good rule of thumb anyway. I'm making a cut for the bottom lip here. I don't remember if I meant to do it, but I made the mouth rather big, so I had room to put teeth in this one. Teeth sometimes can be real distracting on a carving, but anyway, I cut down this lip. This cut's making the separation from the bottom lip and the beard. Got to be real careful at that, where it's the highest point of the lip. Your tools need to be real sharp, or you can crack off a piece of the lip pretty easily doing that if you've got dull tools, and if it's not a good part of wood. So that's why when I'm doing the face, I always carve the dead wood off down to that, or spongy, I don't know if you'd call it dead, I don't know what you call it, doty wood. The bad carving wood anyway, just carve it off there where you can get down to some good grain. And every now and then a knot or something will spoil it, but here I was going to cut in the teeth, and I had the V-tool, and there's too much wood. If I'd have cut them in, it'd have been real buck tooth. So I got a gouge, knocked down some of that wood. That's what I'm doing there. Make it to where it looks halfway reasonable. And then go in with the V-tool and separate the teeth from the bottom lip. At this point, everything's pretty much set in. I hadn't worked on the hat yet, but the face and the beard, the mustache, the eyes, the nose, the lips, they're kind of set in. So at this point, it's just working and making it more, putting your artistic flair on it, or flavor, just however you want it to work. using a real small, shallow chisel there and shaping the lip a little bit. I do try to be careful. Again, this is just a demonstration on how I do it. Don't follow my lead for safety because it's non-existent. But I do I try to make an effort to keep my hands out of the way. You keep your hands behind that blade, you'll never cut yourself. You never cut your hands anyway. But anything in front of that knife edge is a target. So just remember that. Be aware of where your tool is going. Just shaping up the beard. Like I said, I outlined it on each side and then ran up the middle and then just kind of put some tool marks on the rest of it there. Sometimes I'll leave like that black part, or if it's got bark on it that stuck real good, sometimes I'll leave that. It's just how it looks and how you want it to look. If you like it, it stays. If you don't, it doesn't. But I do try to make both the sides look about the same, and like putting in these S marks there on the left side, got rid of most of that dark, and now I've got the dark over there on the right that I'm going to take out here in a minute. But that's what I say. Now you can kind of see the whole piece. When I'm doing these Santa limbs, I usually do them just like this one, no matter the size, and I'll cut the bottom off where they can sit flat on a desk or a table, and I'll have the hole for my carving screw that I hold it in the carving arm with. That can be a way to hang it. So these can either hang on a wall or sit flat on a table or desk. Again, just trying to keep those cuts going in a S shape, and there I'm pointing at that. It's like, man, that's got to go. It just stuck out way too much. I like the looks of it, but it just didn't work. And at this point, you can go in and put more detail on these curves with smaller and smaller gouges, and just work as much as you want to on it. I like to use the big chisels on a piece this size and leave some big marks, big tool marks. And again, I guess I just got tired of working on the beard, got it to where I like the way it looked, and then I noticed that the forehead needed some work. And I used that's a small tool there, but I used the big flat, I think it's the number 2. I use that a lot doing work on just about any size of a head, because you can round it just about to any shape you want when you turn it over like that. And it makes a smooth cut, makes a good cut, looks good. Or I think it looks good. Now putting the same deal, some of the little S cuts on the part of the carving that's the hair, between the hair and the beard. Pushing it up under where I made that V-tool cut earlier for the furry headband. Now you can get a shot of working on the hat. I've got that flat chisel and my crocheted beanie. It was cold that day. But I'll use that flat chisel just to shape it. It takes off a lot of wood. And this is a good carving piece of wood. What my initial desire to do here was to leave that dark color, that's not the bark, but the layer underneath the bark, leave it on there to kind of show where the headband is, the furry headband. So I cleaned off all the other knocked it down to where I got some good carving wood. And now I'm actually outlining the headband. And for that, it sticks out a lot more than it would if it was a realistic piece, but I wanted to leave that dark color on there. But you have to carve down past it's really not, I don't know, dead wood, dodie wood. Anyway, it's not good carving wood. You have to carve down past that to where you got some good grain to carve, because the hat really looks good with some good grain in it. And then I'll start working on the little fuzzy tassel up there for the top of the hat. I shaped that up. That was a knot on the side of the tree, so I just shaped that up and leave it in there natural. By natural, I mean I didn't cut it off and carve something. I just let it have its own shape. And using the smaller gouge to kind of outline it where it'll comes time to paint it, and it'll separate it from the rest of the carving. Now knocking all that dead wood off, getting down to good carving wood. And I'll do this around the hat, all the way around it, and shape the hat again to fit the head. And then add some folds where the tassel part's hanging over. So you can kind of work that any way you want to. Just keep rounding it, make it look like a good Santa hat. On these, you can about the only danger is you can make it too short where it doesn't look right, but I don't think I've made one where it's too long or too tall. You can do one really exaggerated. It could go up a foot or two and people like it. You cut too much of the head off and make him flat-headed, people don't they don't take to that as good as they do if it's a real long hat. There, when I had my hand back behind it, I was feeling where that carving screw is, because I have cut into that, and that will run the day. That'll run the carving, run the chisel. May not run the carving, but you're going to have to plug it if it doesn't. And again, just shaping the hat, leaving it kind of big up there where it'll have some material to fold up under the tassel part. And that's all I'm doing there, is just shaping. Got the hat pretty much shaped, but I carved down a part to where it'll make the fold, and then I shape that again. The part that's under the fold, you got to shape it to go up under the fold. Now you can see it a little better. And I like for the top of it to all be carved. Like, I don't want to leave any saw marks on that. Even if I just barely cut them off, I just want them cut off. I don't want to leave bandsaw marks or chainsaw marks up there. I want it all to be carved. The bottom, I don't worry about that, but usually I'll glue felt on the bottom anyway. But I do like to have all the top carved off. I just think it looks better. Man, that piece on the nose, that's really annoying me right now. And I did end up getting a piece of the waste wood off this log and carving a plug and sticking it down in there and gluing it in. So much for, well, I'll just leave it natural. It's part of the wood. It just didn't work for me. And again, here I'm just taking wood off where it'll be under the fold. My carving arm's made out of bodark or Osage orange. So it's hard, but I don't have to worry. It's not like hitting metal. It's not going to damage the tools. There's really not much to this part of it, but you just don't want to, again, you just want to be careful and not make him too short, too flat-headed. And there I'm carving the fold from the left side to the top. And then I'll change and carve from the right side to the top and let them meet in the middle. Make a pretty clean cut up there. This is kind of wrapping up part 2 of this. Just a little more detail work and this will be through. Hope you enjoyed this part of it. Thanks for looking. Like and subscribe if you will. Again, thanks for watching.